Today we're going to talk about winged liner made appropriate for mature eyes 4 ways. So keep watching. Hello, welcome to Lady in Waking. If you've never been here before, my name is Ashley. I am a 40-something pop culture geek with a love for vintage styling, and I'm always trying to find ways to hone vintage styling to my age because I don't want it to age me. So if that's something that's of interest to you, feel free to subscribe, comment, like the videos, and that will keep them coming to you. Also, if you are interested in authentic vintage techniques, even if you are not in your 40s, then stick around because you may find something useful. Today we're going to be talking about mature eyes and how to create a winged liner that works with maturing eyes. I do have some fine lines around the edges of my eyes. My eyelids have drooped a bit, so it definitely requires some finessing to make a winged liner work. So what we're going to talk about very, very succinctly here is how to incorporate a winged liner onto eyes that may be hooded or may be a little bit crepey around the edges. And we're going to talk about 4 ways to potentially doing that, starting with a very, very subtle sort of shape at the outer edge, moving upwards towards a more traditional wing, and then finally onto this more modern kind of smoked out wing. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please stick around and let me know if you have any other requests for videos similar to this that you would like to see in the future. Okay, for the first liner, we are actually not going to do a wing at all. We're just going to take some dark or kind of medium brown shadow and blend it to the outer edge of your eye, so that it makes that portion of the eye appear to be more lifted. You can also line the underside of the eye with that same color and blend upwards, and that's going to give you a little bit of that lift. You can't see it as well there in the brightness of my light, but it really does show, and it's an easy way to kind of skip a wing altogether and still lift the outer edges. And then for this second one, we're going to actually take my brown Pretty Easy lining pen. I'm using brown today, but you can use black or any other color you like. And I've made a small line at my upper lash line with that liner, and then I'm taking the liner and just drawing a very, very small line at the outer corner of each eye. And this line is small enough to where it doesn't even reach the crease. It's basically focusing just on the lid. And then you're going to pull that back into a tiny little triangle and just color it in with your liner. And that's going to give you a very small sort of doe eye shape, without having to worry too much about any lines that are swooping or getting caught into the corners of your eyes and sort of any laugh lines or anything like that. So keeping the wings small is a second trick that you can use to sort of give you that lifted outer edge that a wing gives you without having to worry too much about maintaining that the length of that line. And then you could take your full mascara, like a thickening mascara, and just really, really amp up the outer edges to give you another boost at the outer corner of the eye. And then the next one is going to be the more dramatic wing that works well, I feel like, for mature eyes. I did this on my evening pinup look that I did fairly recently. And basically all you're going to do is take the liner and draw a line from the bottom edge of your eye all the way out to however far you want the line to be, and you can literally do it as far as you like. Even if you have crepiness or sort of dragging at the outer corner of the eye, you can usually cover that up with a graphic liner if you're brave enough. So basically you're going to take that line and draw it in sort of a triangle as thick as you need to give you an even graphic line. And most of the time you can do this even if your eyes are starting to drag a little bit at the outer edge. So you're going to take that liquid liner and build it up as much as you need to draw a nice thick graphic line. And this creates sort of a wedge. This is more similar to a late 50s or early 60s line, but it gives you that nice graphic shape. And then you can just amp it up with a little bit of liner at the inner corner. You can actually do this all the way underneath and create sort of a kitten eye or a standard cat eye, but I'm just pulling it into the top line, and then I'm going to use some false lashes to boost that. And this sort of a line does look best with false lashes. Without false lashes, it looks a bit incomplete, but you can see from one side to the other, I used sort of a thick, flirty false lash, and you can see from one eye to the other how much more finished the one with the eyelashes looks. And then the last one is one I've been using quite often. This is what some people call kind of a version of the foxy eye. This is where you're going to take your liquid liner and draw just the outer line, and then you're going to use eyeshadow and pull that eyeshadow into sort of a wedge shape above where you've placed your liner. And this is going to give you a more smoky liner. So you're just going to use whatever shade that you want. I used like a warm brown here, and just sort of create a wedge above the line you've created. So it gives you a wing shape without having to worry about a more graphic line. But I usually go back and forth with my blending brush and my pencil brush and just sort of build up that color at the outer edge. So it does give you sort of that wing shape. And now I'm putting a kind of a shimmery bronze shade on the lid. And then I'll use that same blending brush to sort of blend all of that together. And then maybe define the line just a little bit more and blend it using some Q-tips. And that pretty much completes that. And I usually will put a little bit of a shimmery shadow beneath my eyes as well, just to give it a little bit of edge. So that's it. It's very easy. It's something that takes a little bit of work to see what works best for you when it comes to the style of wing that you want to wear with your everyday look, or whether you want to use a couple of different techniques to sort of do a more evening appropriate wing or a day wing. But either way, there's always something that can work to create a vintage look for your eye shape or your eyes, your eye texture, no matter what that is. So again, if you have any questions about other sort of traditional meets modern vintage techniques that you would like to ask me about, then just comment below. Also comment below just in general to let me know what you thought of the video, because that kind of helps keep the videos up in the algorithm. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.